Welcome. You have now entered the Haunted Library. This is where we tell scary stories inspired by you, our viewers. We know that everyone loves a good scare, and that's why we're here to bring you spine-tingling tales of horror and suspense. Each week we will take our prompts and turn them into stories that will keep you up at night. From ghostly apparitions to monsters lurking in the shadows, we'll bring your ideas to life and take you on a journey into the unknown. We'll introduce you to characters that will both terrify and intrigue you, and transport you to worlds that are both familiar and otherworldly. Our stories are not for the faint of heart, but for those who crave the thrill of the unknown. So, if you have an idea for a scary story that you want to see come to life, share it with us. Let us bring your darkest imaginings to life and take you on a journey that will leave you breathless. Put your ideas in the comments below. Stephen woke up in a cold sweat, his heart racing as he looked around the dark room. He couldn't remember how he got there, or even where there was. He reached for his phone, but it wasn't in his pocket. Panic set in as he realized he was completely alone in the dark. He tried to get up, but his body felt heavy, like it was made of lead. He stumbled forward, his hands outstretched, hoping to find something, anything that could give him a clue as to where he was. The room was silent, except for the sound of his own breathing. He could feel his pulse pounding in his ears. As he moved further into the darkness, he started to feel a sense of dread creeping over him. The air was thick and suffocating, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. He turned around. There was nothing there. He tried to push the thoughts out of his head to convince himself that this was all just a bad dream. But the more he tried to rationalize it, the more the fear grew. He was lost in a nightmare, and he couldn't wake up. Hours passed, or maybe it was only minutes. Time seemed to have lost all meaning in the darkness. He started to hear things, whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. He tried to ignore them, but they grew louder and more insistent until he could hear every word. Nobody's coming for you. the whisper said. "You're alone in the dark, and nobody cares if you live or die." The man fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He wanted to scream, to lash out at whatever was tormenting him, but he couldn't find the strength. He was completely and utterly alone, lost in a world of his own creation. And then suddenly, the room was flooded with light. The man blinked in surprise, shielding his eyes from the brightness. As his vision cleared, he realized where he was. He was lying in his own bed, his sheets soaked with sweat. It had all been in his head. The man breathed a sigh of relief, grateful to be back in the real world. But as he sat up and looked around his room, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was still there, lurking in the shadows. And he knew that no matter how hard he tried to ignore it, he would never be completely free from the darkness that lived inside of his own mind.